Hello everyone, we are group 7 in class K65 Our group members are Lương Thị Hải, Nguyễn Thị Nga, Nguyễn Thị Duyên, Lã Thị Trang, and I, Nguyễn Khánh Linh. Imagine that your best friend tells you a secret and later you share it with other people. What you did may not be illegal, but would be ethical. The example shows that legality and morality are not always the same. Ethics refers to principles that help us define what is right and wrong, while laws are rules established by governments. Although they are closely connected, they do not always overlap. Today, our group will discuss two questions. First, should all unethical behavior be made illegal? Second, is it acceptable to do unethical, unethical things as long as they are not illegal? Now, before we begin, let me introduce our presentation outline. First, I will introduce the topic and explain the relationship between ethics and law. Next, number 2, Ms. Hai will discuss why some people believe all unethical behavior should be made illegal. Then, number 3, Ms. Nga will present the opposing view and explain why not people unethical action should be punished by law. After that, number 4, Ms. Nguyen will discuss whether it's acceptable to do unethical things if they are not illegal. And finally, number 5, Ms. Chang will summarize our group's opinion and conclude the presentation. Now let's start with the first question. Should all unethical behavior be made illegal? Now I'd like to hand it over to Ms. Hai.
Thank you, Ms. Lin. I believe that all unethical behavior should be made illegal because unethical action can harm individuals and society. Many unethical behaviors cause emotional, financial, and social damage. If these actions were illegal, people would be more careful about their behavior and its consequence. For example, cyberbullying was once viewed mainly as unethical behavior. However, as it became more widespread and harmful, many countries introduced laws to punish online harassment and protect victims. Another example is spreading false information on social media. Even though it may not always be illegal, it can damage reputation, create panic, and mislead the public. Therefore, making unethical behavior illegal can help create a safer, fairer, and more responsible society. However, there is another side to this issue. Let's hear another perspective from Ms. Nga.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Hai. I understand my teammate point. However, I hold a different opinions. Not every unethical action should become illegal because morality is often subjective. Different people, cultures, and societies may have different views about what is ethical. For example, breaking a promise to a friend is generally considered unethical. However, it would be unreasonable for the government to punish someone for breaking a personal promise. Similarly, being rude, selfish, or inconsiderate may be morally wrong, but these behaviors should not necessarily be treated as crimes. If every unethical act became illegal, government would have too much control over people's personal life, and individual freedom could be reduced. Therefore, some unethical behavior should be addressed through education, family values, and social responsibility rather than legal punishment. On the other hand, even if something is not illegal, it is always acceptable. So, Miss Duyên will discuss this question.
Thank you, Ms. Nga. In my opinion, the answer is no. So because something is legal does not mean it is morally right. Ethical behavior plays an important role in building trust, respect, and healthy relationship. For example, some large companies legally use tech law force to reduce the amount of tax paid. Although this practice may be legal, many people consider it unethical because it limits contribution to public service. Or when we consider the issues of cheating, who think cheating is too wrong even if it isn't illegal? Most people would probably say yes because cheating violates principle of honesty and fairness. This example shows that ethics still matter even if it is not illegal. To wrap up our discussion, I'd like to invite Ms. Chan to give the final truth.
Thank you, Miss Duyên. Some people agree this is acceptable to do unethical things if they are not ugly because individuals should have the freedom to make their own choices. They believe that the law provides a clear standard, a behavior, and that people should not be judged for actions that to do break law. However, our belief that legality and ethics are not always the same. Why not on unethical action? Some be made illegal. People should try to act ethically even when allowed not require them to do so. In conclusion, law establishes the minimum standard for behavior, while ethics encourages behavior. A society cannot function well with law alone. It also needs honesty, responsibility, kindness, and respect. As the saying, courageous in doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Therefore, we should not only ask, it is legal, but also ask, is it the right thing to do? Thank you for your attention.